You guys know what my favorite thing about Amazon was? And still is.
I hope this is good since you hit record immediately before you started saying this sentence. So I imagine there's a punchline to this that hopefully the listeners will enjoy.
They're my favorite bookstore, Terry.
Fuck off.
Oh, I forgot they sold books.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Benny's instantly like, guys, don't buy anything from Amazon anymore because we have beef now. And JP's like, okay, but I will still buy books there just to make Terry mad.
Yeah.
Great way to start the show, JP.
BelligerentBeavs.com/merch. You don't need Amazon anymore.
Yeah, but you can't buy doggy style. Okay, so my first purchase on Amazon ever was Snoop Dogg doggy style.
That's kind of a great first purchase.
Yeah, I got an Amazon gift card. I was like, I'm not trying to buy any books. What the heck can I buy on this website?
Right.
Well,
because
I could buy a parental advisory CD and no one can stop me.
That was
the best thing ever.
Like bookstore, like especially Barnes and Noble was always trying to sell CDs.
Yeah.
It was like Barnes and Noble was like in-person Amazon back when Amazon started. Borders, Books and Borders. I understand why Borders went out of business, but those stores were cool.
What was your favorite section? What's your favorite section at a bookstore?
Well, it depends. It depends on what I'm in the mood for, Benny. I usually make it
the coffee section.
Yes, that is my favorite section, and I just look at the pictures. I don't even read like the.
You don't even read the menu
captions.
items.
No, I just flip to the middle of the book.
Right. Well, we even talked about it at the OSU bookstore last week. We talked about this, Benny. My favorite section was the section where the English classes were.
Textbook section.
It wasn't the textbooks. It was the books aside. I was ignoring the
syllabi. The syllabi section.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a
great section.
English 104. If you're teaching English 104 at Oregon State this fall, DM us. And if JP checks the DMs first, he'll be like, fuck you, nerd. And if I check the DMs first, I'll be like, please send me your syllabus so I can, and please be friends with me. We'll take it off Belligerent Beavs line after that.
Taking or teaching?
What's that?
Did you say you're
teaching?
If you're taking or teaching? Oh,
teaching.
Well, you can
if you're taking it too, hit me up.
From, yeah. At the bookstore, I was
I'm interested in talking about it with the person teaching the class, JP.
I like the art section. All I wanted was to be very liberal with my arts. That's what I wanted to do.
There are some very good art books as well.
I wonder what conservative arts would be. Just like pick, just drawing inside the lines.
Like that's just
super
that's just a photo. This is
just a photo. Break out your iPhones.
Art.
Someone needs to like rename their finance school like the School of Conservative Arts and just get real divisive with it.
No, you want to mix those colors, but don't. You need to be conservative about this.
Yeah. Well, Oregon football is 2-0.
Yeah. Oh man,
save this.
They have kind of a conservative art offense.
Pretty conservative defense too when it comes to conserving that 0 that's on the scoreboard.
That is true.
That thing's not changing. That number's not progressing towards shit.
This is conservative arts 104.
Yeah, if you're teaching conservative arts 104, let's talk about some football defensive concepts and some blitz packages.
What a great game. What a great game. And really Beaver Twitter was a pretty amazing space to be on during that game. For shutting out fun. For a shutout win. Let me get this.
The vibes are strong.
I did not get this right. Did not get this right on the night. Yeah.
You whiffed hard.
Hey,
shocking.
That was Chat GPT.
Yeah.
And we'll call a spade a spade.
I'm always telling you guys it's fact. Fact check GPT. That needs to be the new
time. Someone needs to invent that. Uh-oh.
Last time I was talking about going through every single game to find the 42-14 scoreline.
Yeah, that's what real statisticians do.
Well, I didn't have time because I wanted to get the tweet out quick and not be beat by Dashel.
Say it super declarative and not be beat by Dashel, who is a full-time journalist paid to know things like this. Shout out.
But he's paid to have people who know things like this.
What did we discover? JP, I think you put it out. It was the first shutout win on the road.
First road shutout since 83.
No. That one first road
shutout since 83, but first road shutout win since 79.
Yeah, 83 was a Civil War toilet bowl.
Yeah.
76.
Was it 76?
76.
Okay.
First regular season road shutout win in a while. Before we were born. Before Will Wheaton was born.
Well, and also the fact that it's the third regular season shutout in the last 20. Actually, it's the third regular season shutout in the last 50 something years. We put out 25, but that was just about as far back as I was willing to look. And then I got really into it. I just kept looking. I just kept clicking last season, scrolling. I got really good at looking for scores of 0 on Football Ref. And I became like an AI of my own. And I was just like, boom, boom. I could parse this whole season in half a second. It was a miracle.
And the brain turned into the Matrix.
That makes me so happy.
And then I went all the way back to the Giant Killers. I think was there was 2 before then. So it was 6 and 6. It was 7 in 60 years, but it was 3 in 50 years, including last
and
night.
We have to think about too, this day and age is probably the highest scoring that college football has ever been.
It's way harder to shut someone out now than it was in 1955.
We missed our chance because we weren't very good when we probably could have shut a lot of teams out. Like when we were shut out, I texted you guys. We were shut out 4 times in one season. Was that 1985? I said.
The terrible teams with the script helmets that Benny's so intent on bringing back all the time.
They look so good.
Screw those orange pants. That brings back bad memories.
Dude, I saw a highlight.
The contradiction
I don't know
here.
Why.
If you're new to the show, we love uniforms, and honestly, there's not a bad combination of Beaver uniforms. But it's fun to have our favorites.
No,
I really want to see the team looks sharp as hell in its black helmet, white jersey, black pants. I've been wanting and asking for a black helmet, white jersey, orange pants, which Benny isn't as enthusiastic about. I think JP is with me on this one. A rare JP and Terry versus Benny situation, which I think is kind of a fun dynamic.
For you.
Let's just start ganging up on Benny on the pot.
Oh, Jesus.
Can you imagine a day and age when JP and I stop arguing with each other, Benny? You'd be toast. But I also saw a highlight.
I just go back to smoking.
I saw an in-color highlight of Terry Baker running for a 70-yard touchdown with the black helmet, white jersey, orange pants in the 60s, and they looked. I'll find it and send it to you guys afterwards. It looks very sharp.
Okay.
I want to see the different combinations without thinking crazy with it.
Jackson
and the Steven Jackson one, which was the
USC,
origin.
Yeah,
it was the Steven Jackson team at USC. Had a very, very sharp orange, black, white, orange situation.
Yeah, we haven't done it in a while. We haven't done.
What?
Who knows?
What they are doing, though, yeah. I honestly think they might do it this year because what they're doing so far are things we haven't done in a while. And it's not like the crazy, weird combos that didn't make sense, like the Gary Anderson era where you're like, whoa, finally, we're doing, we're mixing and matching combos. And you're like,
the face mask had this teeth pattern painted into it
but it was orange helmet, white jersey, black pants, orange socks, and we're like, okay, what?
There were some weird ones.
This doesn't. Yeah, it just felt like, hey, let's just
maybe
not
if the play
repeat.
On the field had been better, I would have been like, these are less weird, but I don't know. There is still So I was like, I think it was supposed to be the opposite the way this was designed, but you do.
Do you guys remember? Do you guys remember when we had the stripe on the helmet that they tried to impose on the face mask?
So they kept going onto the face mask. That was maybe that was the last year of like Riley's last season is when that was introduced. But it was mostly with the Anderson era that I associate those face masks with.
Same.
Yeah.
But I think Riley's last year was 2014.
Riley.
So 20
would have been sick if the stripe went all the way down onto the shirt.
All the way down,
like from the helmet down the face mask.
2013 was the
through
first
the
year
crotch,
of those.
up around their butt, crack.
Because that was when those were
for Oregon State.
The first version of those unis were introduced in the Stormetheus video and the Crichtonite and the Mach 7 Night Blinder. That one that we talked about for maybe
that was the year,
across 6 episodes earlier in the Belligerent Beavs run. The uniforms look very sharp. Also, we'll get deep into the X's and O's and everything that happened in this game and the look ahead. This will be a very football heavy episode because hey, we are stoked on this football team right now.
Excited for an episode in a long time, guys.
Yeah, and not to mention, since you guys last recorded, there's only been like 2 other Oregon State events: soccer, soccer, volleyball, and
some soccer,
track. Yeah, cross country, and it was Pre's run. Who cares?
Who cares? Who cares about anyone from that school that barely beats teams from Idaho at home? Okay. Why don't you win by 3 possessions like men? The atmosphere,
like Tom Collins
at Snapdragon. Oh, thank you, Benny. That's foreshadowing our next segment. So put a pin in that. Snapdragon Stadium in San Diego looks like just a beautiful facility. Not nearly as beautiful as the defensive performance that we put on that field yesterday, but the type of atmosphere where it sounded like some San Diego State fans were in it at first, but it didn't take long for the Beaver fans' presence to really be shown and felt on the broadcast. I watched this one in the garage bar, and it was apparent that the traveling party of Beaver fans were there, and they were there to party and enjoying themselves. A beautiful night in San Diego. It looked like beautiful stadium. On the same footprint where Qualcomm used to be. I believe they mentioned that on the broadcast. I went to one game at Qualcomm. I got to see your boy Barry Bonds and the Giants play there, JP, actually.
What?
Way back in the day. And
Tony Gwynn playing too?
I think he had retired, but it was around that time. I think I just missed Gwynn. But also, I was old enough to see, this stadium's a shithole. So I'm happy to see a nice facility in its place. So shout out to the Beaver fans who made it down there. If you made the trip and you're listening to this, then hit us up and let us know how it was and where you went, what you ate, where you tailgated, who you hung out with, what the view is like. We always love hearing those.
How hot you would have been if it was during the day.
Thank God it was 7:30 p.m. Dude, I was up until like 1:30 a.m. Central Time. The game was over by then. But of course, I had to watch the highlights. And then I just rewatched the 2022 Civil War almost in its entirety, the fourth quarter anyway, just because I was just feeling the love and feeling the fun. But yeah, I wish we had gotten this in like October, November. I think we all would have gone.
I know.
Yeah. Even more Beaver fans would have gone.
Yeah, we have a good schedule, a good group of away days. The away days just happen at weird times. San Diego at the beginning of September, that's hot. And then Boise at the end. Boise's probably the road trip that I'm most excited about, and that's at 9 a.m. the day after Thanksgiving.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you had flipped a Boise State and San Diego State games, it would have been perfect. I'd love to play.
Would have been great.
Maybe not Boise last night because they were a little preoccupied in Eugene and should have got that goddamn win. This isn't a podcast about that fucking team, but man, I was hoping for it.
That ex-backup kicker that kicked the field goal to win seemed like he was celebrating his own natty on that play.
I don't know.
Some
who
stuff
that guy
to
is.
say about how that relates to next week. I'll wait until we sort of
wait
preview
until we get to the
week's
next
game.
week.
Yeah,
wait until we get to next week for sure. But I think without further ado, because we just want to get to this game, we should just dive into the beer segment and kick this thing off.
Yes.
Unless there's any other auxiliary matters you guys want to get to before, or should we cheers it up? I would like to go last because I have a special drink this week.
Okay.
Oh wow!
I thought I had.
I'll go first.
On my special drinks.
I'll go first. I have a blue Gatorade.
Ooh, that's real blue.
Also known as Haterade. Because it is hate week this week, guys.
It is hate week. It is, and Mercury is in Gatorade.
Yep.
Mercury is in Haterade.
Yeah. Nice. That's quick.
That's the title of the episode, JP. Mercury is in Haterade.
Yep.
No, we need to retain viewers, Terry. That is going to lose a million of them.
And do the SEO thing. Mercury is in Haterade. Civil War, Oregon Ducks, college football playoff, maybe. Yeah.
So that's my blue Gatorade.
CFP championship match.
CFP. Hashtag Caitlin Clark.
Angel Reese. Just anything.
Who should be the rookie of the year?
Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl.
Yeah. The name of the episode is Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl. That's actually just the name of the podcast now.
It's literally everything that we just said. It's all of it. Some of it's evergreen. We're going to use Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl for the next 69 episodes. That is called SEO, baby.
I tell you SEO services and web marketing expertise for like some crazy amount, hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars. No, just change everything that you are publishing, like your company's content under, to Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl. You are fine.
Yeah. And watch the Prophet's hockey stick. Yeah, you got this. You're welcome for free life hack.
There you go. All right. So
hockey stick.
Well, it goes when you're
I thought it was like a show or something.
Prophet's hockey stick.
Watch your Prophet's hockey stick. That'd be a good show.
That's the name of next episode, Benny.
Move on to JP's.
It's our
narrative pod.
No.
Jesus.
JP. This hazy IPA is called Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl.
I've got
Succession Brewing.
Elysian Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl Dust IPA. It comes after a week of having Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl vid.
Kendrick Lamar
and
just keep saying it.
Yeah.
Let's go. I'm all in on this.
I just haven't had
any
desire or need or energy to like go seek out a new beer. So I do have my staples. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Nice.
Let's go.
Kendrick Lamar to the Super Bowl or bust, and Elysian Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl dust. They kind of rhyme.
Yeah. Very good. Well, I do think we've been trying to rename this segment since an unfortunate transfer took place and ruined the perfect beer segment title. So I think for the foreseeable future, it's the Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl beer segment.
Sponsored by Apple Music.
Featuring Tom Collins.
I unsurprisingly have a light beer for this beer segment. It's a Negro Modelo, just to be my auxiliary beer where I hydrate myself with. It is very tasty and refreshing. That is not my special drink, though.
It's like it.
My special drink is in honor of someone who I thought you can't really pick a best player from this game because so many guys balled out and showed out and were key to this victory. And we're for the next hour or so, we're just going to name dudes and be like, yeah, so sick, dope, tight. That's all podcasting is, kids, is you say the name of a player and you listen to your friends react. But I wanted to honor a man who had a hell of a game last night and also played really well the week before. So I made myself a Tom Collins.
Let's go.
I knew that was coming. Glass. Benny knew it was coming. He tipped it. I had all the ingredients at home, and it's very good, very tasty. It's not quite as good as Tom Collins is at football. God, that man was a monster in San Diego last night. I felt bad for the Aztecs who were trying to block him. By the end of it, I was just like, Tommy, chill. But you know what the word is for chill in Swedish? There isn't one. There isn't. There might be one. I'm just saying there isn't one.
Kendrick Lamar to the Super Bowl.
Kendrick Lamar, Super Bowl, Sweden. I'm sure Kendrick Lamar has performed in Sweden before.
Maybe
Malmo, Stockholm.
Yeah,
one of them.
Probably.
Absolutely.
Is there another Swedish city I can name? Not off the top of my head, but if you're listening to us in Sweden, we have had listens in Sweden before.
Yeah.
Shout out to you. Shout out to Tom Collins. And Tom Collins, this Tom Collins is for you, our friend, Tom Collins.
Ooh, wait, is Tom Collins from Sweden? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was like 2 years ago. I was like, we got this dude from Sweden. He looks enormous. Yeah, that's
remember that.
All right.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
What episode was that? Was it the same Terry Turns Robot episode?
Dude,
maybe.
Was one of the funniest videos I've seen, not just by you, but just in terms of making me laugh. Yeah, you sort of had to be there, right? Like you sort of had to be there.
Well,
yeah.
Everyone listening to this should have been there because it is a narrative podcast. So
it is a narrative podcast.
If you're joining us immediately after the San Diego State game for the first time, first of all, welcome. But it is a narrative podcast, so go back and listen to our May 2021 episodes and just ignore the parts where we're like, I think this move makes sense for the Pac-12. Longevity secured.
It was episode 27, Terry Turns Robot. It was actually right before the LA Bowl. December 16, 2022.
The LA Bowl. Whew.
Yeah.
Blast from the past.
The Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl.
Did we play in the LA Bowl? Utah State?
Yeah, we lost.
Utah State was better.
Yeah,
Utah State was better back then.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, cheers.
Cheers.
Tom Collins. To Trent Bray's first road win and for pitching a shutout.
Woo! Oh, man. I don't think that's any coincidence. Trent Bray, 2 games in. We're breaking records that are 40 years plus. Old.
Yeah.
And
yeah. You're right.
Doing things we haven't done for 40 plus years. On defense.
For sure. JP, what stuck out to you the most in this 21-0 commanding defensive masterpiece in San Diego?
I think it. Well, I'm trying to figure out how to put this succinctly, but I would say like it was a team. It was the most dominant team win that didn't have anybody truly play like a takeover role. And I don't think we've seen a lot of Oregon State wins like that in a long time. We usually have somebody that carries the way, and it's either predictable or commonplace, right? You were like, oh yeah, I knew that receiver would come through big time for us. I knew that we could always rely on this running back, whatever it was. This just felt like the most cohesive team victory that I have seen in a very, very, very long time. I think that's what stood out to me the most. And it's not just that it was like everybody had a hand in making sure that we not just won the game, but won it, I guess, at least in the end, decisively. But everybody kind of just did their role and didn't mess up and didn't overreact. They didn't get down on themselves. It was very interesting how calm and resilient everyone appeared as well. Like, all right, next time, next play, we'll get a next drive. And it wasn't just like one player. It was like, I fucked up. I'm going to come back and do this better next time. It was everybody. And it really felt like there was no weak points on the field. I think that's my biggest.
I
That was
agree
my
with that.
biggest takeaway of it all was there wasn't anything on the field where like I hope they don't go this way. I hope we don't try to do this. It was just like just do what we're doing. Do what you're doing. Keep going. Make it work.
It was really hard to like be like, who was the player of the game? Like I wanted to say like 15 different names.
Yeah.
Right. Benny, who would you, if like you had to pick one player who like stood out the most or is most essential? This isn't Jeopardy. You can name like 5 different guys if you want to. But
I'll name a position group. I think the defense obviously deserves a lot of love. Sure. I think running backs also. It's just a stable, and where they didn't put up the same sort of eye-popping numbers as they did against Idaho State. Clearly, those backs clearly can, take over a game. But I'm going to say the offensive line. And I think the way that we were able to run the ball down San Diego's throat was incredible. And I think it really does sort of paint a picture of the game, right? Like the first drive, we did that. San Diego, I mean, if they looked at the tape, they should have been prepared for that. It didn't look like they were. And we were able to get just chunk yards after chunk yards and scored very easily. But then San Diego State started to load the box. And I think most offensive coordinators would have switched into, okay, you're going to load the box. We'll do, an outside pitch. We'll do play action, screen pass. And Gundy didn't do that. And I think it's important that he didn't, right? We talked about it last week a little bit and the week before of like, it's important to disguise the offense, especially going into this Oregon game. And with Gundy having no offensive coordinating experience, you can't prepare for what you don't have tape on. So Gundy, I think it's really important that he kept it vanilla. And he couldn't have kept it vanilla without the offensive line being able to dominate the line of scrimmage. And they absolutely did. We were getting three yards minimum on runs up the middle when they had 7 players in the box, right? And they're all gunning for the running back. They know it's coming. And then those 3rd and 1 plays. Did it seem like we were getting like a running head start the way that McCoy was running up?
Yes, I noticed that too.
I love that. And I think, again, like the offensive line just was able to get such a push on that. Like that is better than a tush push, in my opinion. Like that's a great play call.
There was one that they stopped, but then we went for it on 4th and got it. The only time we went for it on 4th and didn't get it was 4th and 5. But yeah, and this is hard too. Like Robert Turbin mentioned this on the broadcast a little bit. Like it's always, we knew last game was going to be vanilla on both sides of the ball. And it's easy, like it's kind of a thing that fans do where it's like, we won this game and we weren't even in our bag. And it's like, how do you know how deep they were into the bag? Were you in the booth or whatever? So it's always kind of a grain of salt thing. But Robert Turbin mentioned it. He was talking more about defense and how they kept it as vanilla. Like he mentioned a conversation that they had in production meetings with Trent Bray just about the blitz packages that they had been developing. And we really didn't blitz much at all on defense. And the offensive approach, which was frustrating at times, looked a lot like it did against Idaho State. So that doesn't prove that there's more in the bag that this team is capable of unleashing, but it also leaves that possibility open. And I think you get the sense that the ideal world was going 2-0, getting these wins, sort of treating them like NFL preseason games, which, more not to disrespect Idaho State at all, and certainly not to disrespect San Diego State and Sean Lewis, who I think do have a lot of talented pieces and can get going again the way they have in past years with just a couple bounces the right way. But I think they were trying to keep a lid on a number of different things. And they certainly did that on defense. Offense, there were times I may have overreacted to a couple things in our group chat, but that's why the group chat's the group chat and not the podcast. And we don't podcast immediately during games. Go ahead, JP.
No, I'm saying I'll zip it. I'm not gonna talk about what was in the group chat.
For sure. But
I won't
I think
spill
the
it.
frustrating part, just to so that we're going both sides here, the frustrating thing on offense was they were moving the ball. There wasn't a 3 and out until the very end.
Yeah.
This team should have had a 3-score lead going into halftime by what they're moving the ball. And I know there's a missed field goal and just a couple things, but every drive was a decent to good drive. And after the first one, they weren't finishing drives. So it just kind of felt like the offense was playing with its food a little bit. But in terms of the victory as a whole, I think you can see the foundation for what could be a really good to just functional offense that keeps you in games, and a defense that, would have been league winner if we had a full league to play in. But is just a game wrecker and should keep us in every single game.
Oh, well, let me ask you guys this then, because I agree with you, Terry. I think our offense looked good. We put up some, we had 420 yards total.
And 1,000 first downs.
Yeah, but we couldn't. It was 7-0 going.
And we lead the nation in time of possession.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, yesterday helped for sure. Right? But we was 7-0 going into the fourth quarter.
We had the ball
and
for
I remember saying
several hours.
We had 343 yards or 323 yards, I think, at the end of 3. And I put in the group chat, I was like, how do we have 7 points and 323 yards? What did you guys see that was prohibiting us from scoring points off of having a pretty functional, well-oiled offense?
I think just a hesitation to go for the kill and maybe unleash the full range of explosive plays that we might have in our back pockets. And
yeah,
that could be Gundy trying to hide it. And also, like you said, they were like, okay, these guys are going to try to run us to death. And they were giving 8-man fronts. And Jam and Hank, and even we got to see Aladdin a bit more in this game. Reichel had a couple nice runs too. They're very talented runners, and I think Hank is the one who is, it's almost always going to be 2 yards. That's kind of the worst case scenario with Hank. And they got to a point where they were getting to around the 40, around the 35. And after Jam's explosive run on the first drive, that explosiveness just wasn't really there anymore. And it felt like the passing game was just a little too cautious. And
he had a few moments though.
He did, yeah.
He was about to break him.
I think
after that first drive,
a little bit of luck, a little bit of maybe just not fully understanding the identity yet, which is, it's the second game. This is a team that had to go through more turnover than just about any other team. And I say that not trying to, make excuse, but just trying to calm myself down retroactively when points
and
just
paint
weren't
an accurate picture.
Yeah, when points just weren't getting, on the board. So, and there are a couple time things, but also the field position game too. When we went for it and didn't get it at about midfield, I think that drive started inside the 10. So if you look at the drive thing, it's each one was going between 35 and 55 to 60 yards in terms of total drives, and it was the first one's touchdown, and then it's punt, turnover on downs, punt, missed field goal, halftime, 60 yards and punt into the second half. So it was just kind of the clutch third down playmaking to really finish off drives wasn't there. And I think that's just a function of trying to fully understand the offense and understand your identity, and to take what's a good drive and make it a great drive, and one that you finish in the end zone.
Yeah, but I still feel like this is something that Gundy's maybe both of what you said, Terry, and what I'm thinking is he's keeping things close to vest, but he's also trying to see what is the reliable move if it's that we could try and not have to draw from, the ace up our sleeve. Right. And like, I don't want to expose this play yet. I don't want to, but I want to know, like, okay, if we had to have 5 yards in this situation, 8 yards in this situation, right, what do we do? Who do we lean on? What's the play? This is the time to test that stuff. I feel like,
like, who are my quarter did make a play?
Yeah. And the second quarter felt a ton like that. Honestly, though, by the third quarter onward, it was like they had abandoned that a bit. They were just like, okay, now pedal the metal. Let's just end this. It really did feel like not even the tale of two different halves, because that first drive and a little bit after that really had a ton of energy. I think Jam did an incredible job and maybe set the tone for the entire game to at least let people play a lot looser than maybe they would have if that drive ended up giving the ball back to San Diego State for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the stalling left a bad taste in most fans' mouths, but that was like by halftime. But by like, and then as it occurred in the third, like it was like, come on, like what the hell?
Right.
Yeah.
But then I think we were just seeing regular Oregon State football by that point, and then it was like, okay, now they're going for the kill. So we weren't watching what this offense is capable of in that second quarter.
No,
I don't think that was the game plan. I honestly think that this was 15 minutes to work through, iron out, see what we got kind of situation.
I think you're probably right. And I do think that there was some sort of strategy behind what they did where I don't want to say it didn't matter so much that they didn't score, but I think that part of the game plan was to run San Diego State's defense into the ground and keep San Diego's offense off the field, which they were very successful at. And I mean, I think that's why in the fourth quarter you saw the floodgates sort of start to open up. The San Diego State defense was just absolutely worn out. But one thing, and we talked a little bit about this in the group chat, was to me it seemed like Gevani has been instructed or was instructed to play within the reins of the playbook. Meaning like, this is our time to, JP, as you said, like iron out some stuff. Maybe like the routes weren't as crisp as what they wanted them in practice. So like, let's try that out in the game. But there were several times where it seemed like Gevani could get a good chunk of yards on the ground and he elected to pass it instead. And sometimes pass it into coverage that he like the run clearly was the better choice. And what I hope is that Gundy sort of takes the reins off a little bit for this Oregon game and, says, hey, you just have to make the best play for the team. We're done trying to iron stuff out in the playbook and have you play within the reins. And so I say that all tying back to a quote that Trent Bray had before the season, right? Which was when Gevani had earned the starting job. And he said, Gevani has shown a really good ability to improvise on broken plays. But in the last week, he's really gained knowledge and a solid understanding of the playbook. And like, he's got it, for a lack of a better term. Like it's clicking now. And I think they wanted to sort of enhance that, because by that quote, it seemed obvious that like his ability to improvise on a broken play is natural. And like that came directly from his experience at Idaho. Like they didn't have to teach him that. They did have to teach him the playbook. And it seemed like that sort of clicked a little bit later than what you would like. And clearly that's because he's a transfer coming in, just learning the playbook. So I think that there is a focus on like, hey, don't scramble, like do your check downs, make sure that like you're understanding what this play is designed to do. Right. And so I think I agree. Like, yeah. And I think we'll see that change going forward.
Well, Yeah, because why put his body on the line for a game this early if we could win without needing it? Just to see it, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
But on the Gevani talk, I think that there is so much more than just his playmaking ability that the team likes that they're trying to nurture without kind of exposing it. And it really is his decision making. I think, look, we applauded DJ for not making mistakes last year. I think we all felt like, hey, he makes the right decision to avoid a mistake. Maybe that wasn't the right decision in real time for the play, but he didn't force the wrong thing. He didn't force the turnover. He didn't fumble, get sacked, whatever. I see the same thing with Gevani, except he does try to make the plays.
Right.
And it's a big difference. It's a huge difference. And I think what they're trying to make him do is say, make the play, focus on the play, and not scramble, not give up, not think about, oh shit, I'm blowing it. I need to do something. I had to force something. And we're seeing his ability to just play smart football. And look, it's 2 weeks, and it's I'm not to talk down on the opponents, but like this isn't, Power 4 football yet.
Yeah.
San Diego State obviously has had and might have again a great program, but like that it's not there last week. So
and this is supposed to be a down year for San Diego State.
Yeah, they're rebuilding, but they would love to see how this unfolds for his confidence against Oregon when they say, you know what, don't just force it, or don't just make the smart play. Continue to not force it, but also if there's no smart play and you feel you have to force it, go ahead and run now. And I think that those are like three different elements of McCoy's game, which is why his box scores might not impress people throughout the season. But when you watch him actually execute on the field and you see how he helps the team drive downfield,
right?
Maybe not always for a touchdown or a field goal, but they move the ball, and they move the ball because he takes care of the ball, and he's just a smart playmaker, period. I think that's the best way to describe him.
And I think the drive that needs to be highlighted, both the drive itself and the play that came before it, is the 13 play, 98-yard drive from the third quarter into the fourth quarter. Like the box score will show we didn't score in the third quarter, which, we didn't, but that drive seemed to take a year. And San Diego State's defensive players maybe aged a year during that time. And that is, of course, San Diego State after the botched punt and San Diego State having the best field position they'd had all game. They were threatening, they were driving. Jack Kane forces an incredible fumble on Danny O'Neal, San Diego State's quarterback, who's trying to run it in on the 2-yard line, and Nikko Taylor recovers it, which it felt like, oh, this game's going to be 7-7. And then we got the ball back, and then just methodical. There's a lot to be said about just this team in that drive. I want to shout out Kane's mom, who was featured heavily on the CBS Sports broadcast, and I think I'm forgetting the timeline of this, but early in Kane's football playing life, he was going to a football game, and she said, "I love you. Good luck. Try not to suck." And now there's a sign that's "Try not to suck. Love mom." That I believe she was at the game and had it there, and the team was celebrating with it in the locker room afterwards. And honestly, that is just a pretty good internal mantra to have. So shout out Mama Kane for instilling that in Jack. He did not suck. In fact, he was way better than even the realm adjacent to sucking. Made a huge play. If you have to pick one play in this game, that's maybe the one. But even that, 13 plays, 98 yards. The guy's not fucking freaking out, and which is significant because before that, when there was maybe just like a few minutes where it felt like the offense was reeling a bit, was when Gundy made probably his most aggressive play call in these two games when he called the flea flicker. And Trent Walker was open, and that should have been a touchdown or a 50-yard gain at least. And it just went right through his hands. And that's when we had to punt. And I believe that was the botched punt as well. And he made the biggest play on that drive, catching a ball short of the sticks a little bit on a key third down, and then making a nice move for the first down. And then saying, fuck it, I'm getting 25 more yards on this. That was such a big play. And it's, like this, it's kind of tale as old as time, where it's, you go to your quarterback, he, throws an interception at short memory, go out there, try and make the same play. In the first game, in fact, after Griffin fumbled on the first series, we've kind of seen the team alternate him and Hank early in games, and then kind of changing it based on game script. But Griffin got the first carry of the second series against Idaho State. And I think it was because he had fumbled before that. And Gundy wanted to be like, hey, you're still one of our guys. Like, shake it off. The best way to shake it off is just get the ball in your hands again. And with receivers, a good, talented receiver who's going to be a big part of your game plan drops a pass. Next chance you get, throw him the fucking ball. Don't let them think about it. And just this quote from Gevani that was in Dashiell's recap was, on the sidelines, that Gevani went up to Trent Walker and said, I'm coming right back at you, so flush it. And that was a play where, like, really the tide turned. It felt like the tide turned towards San Diego State, and then we got it back, and we needed it. So I think, this 13 plays across, like 4 minutes of the third quarter and then 4 minutes of the fourth quarter, it's like just possessing it. And that was such a big boy run by Hank on that one too. Just like, that was a vicious cut. I felt my Achilles hurt by how hard he planted his right foot, and then somehow, like, that shouldn't be possible, Hank, but I'm glad you're the one doing it and not me. And I mean, that's just, I think, if no matter how far this team takes it or how far they can go, how good they can be, we'll look back on that 13 play, 98-yard drive and be like, we learned a lot about this team in that instance.
Yeah. One play that that really stuck out to me that is definitely not going to be talked about. It was a third down play that was an incomplete pass by Gevani McCoy, but his ability, I wouldn't even say his ability, his football IQ and just self and spatial awareness was on full display, right? Where it was, he had the pocket completely collapsed, and he had two defenders coming out of him, spun sort of out of both tackles, was able to scramble up the sideline, make a throw, and he made the right throw, which was out of bounds to nobody because no one was open. He didn't try to force it. He was playing for field position, but just like, that was some Lamar Jackson type shit to see him just be able to know where the defenders were without having to look at them. He could just sense them coming. And all I could think of was, that is absolutely a sack on DJU, right? That is absolutely a sack on any quarterback that we've had in the last 30 years. And it just
definitely one on Jonathan Smith.
Yeah, for sure. But that is just like, when you have a quarterback that can do that, and also not get excited by it. Cause you, like, when Gevani did that as a quarterback, like, like, oh shit, that I just did something fucking sick. Like, he knows that. And and I feel like when you have that feeling, you try to like force the play, right? Almost like in basketball where you cross somebody over and then you do like a fadeaway three.
Fadeaway.
Fuck, I have to make this now.
Right. And
no,
so
it has to be a fadeaway.
Right. So like the instinct, I think, is to try to force something so it's like a play that's on SportsCenter, because it would have been. But he made the right play and threw it out of bounds and played for, another another day or another series. It really stuck out to me. I think that in a weird way showed his QB
his football
IQ on full display. Yeah,
his football IQ in general.
The only thing that loses you a game at that point is a defensive touchdown.
Really. Yeah. But also, like, I mean, but it could be from any reason. It could be that he was strip sacked. Like if somebody from behind got him, it could be a forced throw, interception. Like it could be like he hit his receiver's hands, but he left him out to dry, and then it popped up, and then it was picked and taken back. I mean, there's so many scenarios that could have come out of some of those plays, especially that one. But what I saw, and I agree with you, the Lamar Jackson comp, at least in the pocket presence.
We're talking style. World. We're not talking NFL MVP today. Everyone.
No.
So calm down. We're talking style and just sort of look.
I'm talking pocket presence. The understanding of where the defender is, how much time you have, where do you have to sidestep, where do you move forward on, and look, I watch a lot of Lamar Jackson as a Niners fan. I would say probably nearly as much as most Ravens fans, because if they are not playing when the Niners are, we're watching the Ravens. The Minnie Mabe is his favorite player is Lamar Jackson. I see this stuff from him all the time. It's very commonplace. This is probably just the most simplest thing for Lamar Jackson to pull off. But we haven't seen a quarterback do something like this and move around in the pocket like this with this much confidence, with this much ignorance, even in a way, because it didn't matter to him that things were breaking down around him. He just knew where to move to lengthen the play, to try to get a shot at doing something. There were times he did do that, and then he did get a throw off. And there were multiple times he did that. There was, I think, one time he did that, and then he took off for a run, and then it worked out well. There was a lot of other times where I think maybe he was still looking downfield a little bit too much, and he probably should have just gone for the run, and he didn't do them. But the movement, staying upright, staying untouched, just not evading your blockers for the sake of evading the defenders, and then being just out on an island. I mean, he stayed in the middle of the pocket. It was almost like, I don't know. It excited me just to see him move around, because I was like, if he could do that, and then we can get the wide receivers going against this defense or any defense, we are going to be successful. Because if you can elongate a play, eventually, if your receivers are talented enough, you will make the defense pay. I mean, that is look at the best teams in the NFL right now. Who are their quarterbacks? Obviously, they're elite
Sam
quarterbacks.
Darnold.
Yes. And that man could evade a defense.
1-0, baby. 1-0.
No problem.
Hey, for what it's worth, Oregon State gave up 0 sacks on Saturday. San Diego State did not get 1
sack. 0 interceptions.
And 0 interceptions. No turnovers, as a matter of fact, for Oregon State, which was great.
And few penalties.
There
are a couple.
And no turnovers for 2 weeks?
No, they had one. They had one against Idaho State really early on, maybe their second drive.
First drive. Griffin fumbled on the first drive.
Okay, fumble.
But they have not had a turnover since. Yeah.
No picks.
Giving up 6 points in the last 6 quarters.
Wow.
That's 1 point per quarter. If your math is, if you
how
don't
many
have
points have we given up in the last 60 years, Terry?
0.
ChatGPT, they're reliable.
I'm on Oregon. I'm on Oregon State School of History. Could I just on Football Ref? Can it just points given up total? No, that's more work than I want to do. So I'm not going to do it. But we're 2-0.
That's easy. 1, 2. We can count to that.
1, 2. But yeah, I think that is. I felt a little bit nervous going into this game too, and then it was pretty clear early in the game that this was a challenge that this team was more than capable of meeting. And also mention it's a rebuilding year for San Diego State. It's the first year of the Sean Lewis era there, but man, Marquez Cooper is not a bad football player at all. And it felt like we had him in handcuffs. And that's going to be the task when you play San Diego State. And they're going to try to get them the ball. And he was frustrated as hell the whole game. So our defense really did a fantastic job in just making it like, all right, like if you want to beat us with this guy, like you're going to have to show us some shit that we haven't seen. And he's going to have to, power through our whole defense. And I was just impressed with the whole front seven. And we haven't said his name yet, so I'm just saying his name, but Melvin Jordan Jr. had a hell of a game. And
yes,
his pal who is on this, Isaiah Chisholm, thankfully I was worried about playing the first half without him. First half without him, 0 points given up. Second half with him, 0 points given up. Good job all around defense. But I really thought this was a fantastic game from Melvin Jordan Jr. Like that guy was just everywhere.
He was everywhere, and he was laying some hits. Like him and Skylar Thomas. Those dudes, I would you said that your ACL or hamstring or whatever hurt when you saw
when Hank made
that cut. Dude, my bones hurt when I saw Skylar Thomas just knock the soul out of the San Diego State wide receiver.
My heart hurt watching Skylar Thomas do anything because I had hair envy, man. That guy's got great hair.
I know he does. He has amazing hair.
In college football.
Yeah, he is picking up where Catan left off in great fashion.
And just how happy is everyone for Skylar after what that guy's been through, the injuries he's had to come back from. I mean, I know this is just the definition of delayed, not denied. And I know he's not satisfied with just 2 good games against Idaho State and San Diego State, but he's been attached to this program for a long time, and he could have left too. And he didn't.
Yeah.
And just how many injuries he's had to fight back from. And Benny, you just mentioned Catan. Catan at the Senior Bowl, I asked Catan, like, just how you feel about the secondary group that's still at Oregon State. And he mentioned Skylar as a guy who, they'll be thrilled to have back and has done the work and is ready to take that next step. And especially coming off those injuries, like, I can't imagine how happy he's got to be, and I'm thrilled for him. And also Skylar, like, don't kill anybody. Like, holy shit, I was worried for that guy for a second.
That was such a hard hit. Such a hard hit.
It was legal though too. It was. They show that on the replay. They're like, that is a perfect hit.
And I don't know if we want to segue, but I will say the way Oregon State's playing, where Oregon State's strengths line up perfectly with Oregon's weaknesses that they've shown. Would you guys agree?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. But I think we need to once more. Let's look back at our predictions for this game. Who nailed it? First, who nailed SDSU? And then what do we got?
I nailed Oregon State's score. So, which is, hey, I was an asshole about the offense and I underestimated our defense. Give me a second. I have the notebook here. I just got to get to the right page. Okay, so
did you just have to take your light off your notebook in order to access your notebook, or what's going on?
Well, I wanted the light, upward. So I had my notebook sitting on top of another book, and the light.
How many books? You fucking nerd.
Dog. This is literally every book I own.
And one of them I bought you.
I've not read any of these books.
Yeah, but they look nice.
They're just decoration.
You can see some of my
one
books.
One of them's a lever to
when
a
this goes to
room.
the wide shot, I know there's some right here. You can't see it right now, but whatever. All right, predictions. Who should I start with?
You.
I predicted Oregon State would win 21-16.
All right.
So I had them winning. I did not have them covering the final spread, which was 5.5.
Do you have any anecdotal? parts of this that did you jotting that down? I feel like we should try to grab that at some point. Because it'd be interesting to see not just score predictions, but like if any of us had any sort of like premonition, like,
we'll
I think so and so is going to do this.
Trent Walker is going to drop a pass and then get a really important pass right after.
I said Trent Walker. I said Trent Walker would get 2 touchdowns.
I said after
Gevani McCoy breakout game, so I missed that.
Neglecting the tight ends, Gevani McCoy would throw a perfect pass to a wide open Bryce Caulfield in the end zone to be the first pass and first target towards the tight end. It's a 100% hit rate right now. Gundy, work the tight ends in more. I appreciate he throws the jam.
Don't blow the percentage.
Yeah,
I'd have to go back and listen to the predictions episode, but I can probably do that. I just have scores and shit here. JP
definitely had that. This was I don't remember my score, but I definitely remember saying this would be a Gevani breakout game where we'd actually see him leading the offense and that being on display, and that he would throw 3 touchdowns and 2 to Trent Walker. So I was not.
He was trying to throw touchdowns to Trent Walker.
Yeah.
Trent's a target monster.
I honestly didn't. I didn't think that would really be true by this point. I predicted it, just to hedge my bet a little bit, but
you got the closest.
I missed the most of my in-game predictions, I would say.
You got the closest in terms of margin. You predicted a 28-17 victory. So Oregon State won by. I predicted Oregon State would win by 5. You predicted they'd win by 11.
I predicted they'd win by 4.
You predicted 28-24. So you're both a little bit more bullish on the offense than I. But we all 3 of us had wins. All 3 of us predicted the season would start with back-to-back wins. I'm not going to say what I predicted would happen in week 3 because honestly, I feel completely different.
Okay, let's.
Are you going to?
Oh yeah, our new segment, Bet or Bail. JP, please play 5 seconds of the Price is Right music. This is Bet or Bail. Yeah, this is a perfect segue, and we can talk about it, and then we can go into the matchup ahead.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do same order.
This is Bet or Bail. We revisit our preseason prediction for week 3, which is a game in Corvallis, Oregon, the Paris of the Pacific Northwest, home of Oregon State University, the Harvard of the Pac-12. It's still the Pac-12. That's what we're calling it. Against the University of Oregon Ducks, who are just having a hard time with teams from Idaho in their own house. Nothing against Idaho, but
damn,
you're saying natty or bust, and winning by 6.5 points a game against teams from Idaho. I don't think a single team from Idaho is in the SEC, so might have some work to do there. But going into this season, in our predictions episode, which is episode 155, go back and check it out if you'd like to. I predicted Oregon State. This is episode 157. 58, 157. Yeah, because 155 was before the first game, 156 was after the first game. This is 157 after the second game. So just 2 episodes.
That's how math works.
That's how math works.
We can do an AI voice over.
I predicted Oregon State would lose this game 38-24. JP, please boo me. Please play booing sound. Please throw tomatoes. Please have AI throw digital tomatoes at my screen, just my screen or whatever. Man.
Wait, now do I have a sound here? I don't know.
You might.
Hey, what was the final score?
I predicted Oregon 38, Oregon State 24.
24?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
I predicted Oregon 38, Oregon State 24. We've had strong requests for no more car horns. Come on, let's respect the listener a little bit here. I don't know if we've had to ask Vegas for the lines for all 12 games before the season started. I know that's not how lines work, but
it did come out with an Oregon State line before the season started. They had no other games
What was
other
it?
than Oregon and Oregon State. It was 20 and a half.
20 and a half. Now it's 14. And on DraftKings, it's
Which
14.
is
I've seen 14 and 15.
Still ridiculous.
Right. I had Husky fans texting me like, Terry, drive to Iowa immediately and juice that Oregon State plus 15. After
we were at Yuri's parents today, and there's a casino that's like right off Bainbridge Island. And I had told her at the house when they came out with the lines, it's like, we're stopping there and I'm putting 100 on Oregon State with the spread. That it's
light work.
Yeah.
Gotta do it. So yeah, I mean, that's
money.
obviously changed. Oregon's offense didn't look great against Idaho. It didn't look great really against Boise State. It had some thrilling special teams touchdowns, which might work at Reeser. But Ashton Genty ran wild, and Ashton Genty might be the best running back in the country. But after Ashton Genty, the two best running backs Oregon State might face outside of their game against Ohio State very well could be Jam Griffin and Anthony Hankerson. And
Oregon might face.
That's what I meant
Yeah.
to
I
say.
said Oregon State might face.
The best running back.
We're not facing Jam. He's on our side again.
He's on our team.
He's back.
He is our face. Yes. This could
Jam
be
your
this
face.
is this will be one of the best running games that the Ducks face all year. And one of the other great running games on their schedule made him look pretty suspect last week. So yeah, I'm bailing on this prediction.
Yes.
And I'm gonna go with
Yes.
Oregon State 27, Oregon 21.
Ow. Let's go,
Wrap
Terry.
it fully
welcome
around.
welcome to the bright side again.
Remember when Machine Gun Kelly was on with Charlemagne the God and just like kept on freestyling, and Charlemagne was just like, it doesn't move me, man. And then Machine Gun Kelly was like, oh, come on, I'm not trying to hear that. Like, it was like he was so dejected about everything Oregon is doing right now. It doesn't move me, man. Like, none of this. Like, your game against Idaho, yeah, it doesn't move me. Dan Lanning taking his post game in a weirdly lit room with like candles, like it's the fucking like
He looked
the start of the third act of like some horror movie. Like, nah, that doesn't move me.
He looked like he was the Moments with Mr. Lincoln robot, like at Disneyland, or he was like
He looks like evil Disneyland ride Dan Lanning. That's what
He was minutes away from throwing sand on the campfire as part of the Midnight Society.
Disneyland, evil.
That's good.
Destroying that fucking steak on the stove. Just everything. It doesn't move me, man. It doesn't move me.
Yeah,
I'm not
as
impressed.
I sing and destroy this fucking mic on my desk. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm back.
As I sing Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oregon hasn't won in Corvallis since 2018, and they're not winning in Corvallis next week. I'm bailing.
I love it.
Bailing. We need a soundbite, or we need a noise for when someone bails or when someone bets. I don't think we have it yet, but I'm bailing.
Maybe. Oh, wait. Come on. You got to like let me set up for a second. Say, I'm bailing. Say it.
I'm bailing.
Not that one.
It's not what I was expecting, but I'll go with it.
No. What the? How about this one? No, it has this one. No, I do like that one. That's only if you get it right and you stick with your bet.
Anyways, then, we'll workshop this off the air. JP, your prediction.
Tell me what it was, because I don't remember other than that we're gonna win.
Oregon State wins 31-28. And if you're just changing the scoreline but sticking with a win, I think that's still technically betting. Yeah. Like I wouldn't say I'm bailing on this. We're going to win by more. You can still say you'll win by more, but you initially said we'd win.
I'm betting. I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with all of it. Because what I love to see happen is there's going to be a Atticus Sappington, I presume, kick to tie the game after his stupid little warm-up on the sideline, after his stupid little look on the field, after his pudgy ass barely made that field goal to save their asses from 20 yards out. He'll have the opportunity to do it at Reeser, and his psyche will be destroyed.
I think there is a strong chance of that happening.
Yep.
I really do.
And he'll whiff right to me in the terrace.
Well, where are you standing in the terrace? Because you gotta be on the ends if it's gonna be no good.
Yeah. Yeah. By the beer.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm in the beer line. I guess I can't be in the beer line. I'm standing by the beer.
There's a beer line
close, but
he really shanks it.
Yeah.
So it's it's a huge shank, and you catch it in the beer line.
And guess what? The beer lines are closed, but I'm still waiting just in case. I have a beer in my
early
hand.
For the Purdue game.
This has some holes in it.
Beer in my hand. And no. This is double down bet. I need a sound. I don't have one. Damn it. But I have a beer in my hand. I'm in the beer lines. The beer lines are closed. I'm watching final seconds tick.
Someone is like, you can't stand here, sir. The beer lines are closed. Service ended a while ago. And you look at them and say, just wait. Something's going to happen here.
Wait.
And then the Wisp field goal gets kicked straight to you.
My creds are tucked. My beer is out. The field goal goes wide left, right into my cup that may or may not be full of beer. You can't tell me what's in there. And Beavs win 31-28.
All right. That's
like I said, double down.
A very, very specific prediction.
Yeah.
But a Beaver win.
Until Gabriel sucks.
Oregon fans were booing him.
Yeah, I think Hank's got 115 and 2 touchdowns.
Wow.
And I'm going to give Jermaine Terry his first touchdown.
Thank you.
You're not Jermaine Terry.
I'm related to Jermaine Terry. I'm named after Jermaine Terry.
Terry once could have been called Terry.
Terry Perry.
Jermaine. That'd be a cool name.
That is true. Terry Perry.
Yeah. There is a Terry Perry.
Good thing your parents didn't split up like when you were first born, because then you would have been Terry Perry probably.
But if you were Terry
for
Jermaine
other
Perry,
reasons, it's good that they didn't too.
Terry Jermaine
it's good
Perry
that they didn't for other reasons.
Best reason though is
you also predicted a win by a field goal margin of victory. Oregon State 45, Oregon 42. Are you betting or bailing?
So I'm betting on the fact that Oregon State will win by a field goal, but I am going to say that they win 24-21. I think that Oregon State's defense is not going to give up
42 points.
Yeah, they're not going to give up 42 points. There's no way. Oregon's offense is not going to put 42 points up either. I hope not. But I agree with JP. I think that this comes down to an Atticus Sappington field goal. And I think he misses it.
I can't wait.
And I really do.
It lands in my cup that's not full of beer, as far as you know.
Yeah, it's a huge cup that will catch a football inside of it. It's actually a punch bowl, really.
It's full of Gatorade, and the football is the mercury. And then after it lands there, the mercury will be in Gatorade.
Yeah.
So I agree with everything that JP said.
Are footballs made out
Here's what I would add. Number one, sports has a weird way of having these things line up, right? And I can't think of another player that has transferred from Oregon State to Oregon. I may be wrong, but there's the other way around. Thomas Tyner transferred the other way around, but I can't think of one that transferred that way. Oregon State fans aren't exactly known for not holding a grudge. So I think Atticus is going to get earful.
About 8 seconds on Oregon State Twitter will inform you everything you need to know about how the fan base feels about turncoats.
Would you guys agree with me when I say that kickers, football kickers, particularly college football kickers, are the position in any sport that is most prone to allowing fans to get inside their head or to allow themselves to get inside their own head? Like, it's more of a head game, other than maybe
Max Walker.
a baseball.
Oh,
yeah. Right. But like a kicker, that's why they ice the kicker, right? To allow them to get into their own head.
Yeah. Well, it's the most opportunistic moment to try to play mind games with a football player in a game, because that's the only time you really can, because when there's one player, in focus.
Right.
But yeah, I agree.
I think we get in Atticus's head, and I do think it comes down to a field goal kick by him. I really think that that's going to be the case.
And that man's seeking acceptance. So I think he will
clearly. And
he's going to be the most distraught over any sort of fan response.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that, Boise State was the better team. And I will admit, I did not watch the whole game, but I was keeping up
our
with
game
it.
was happening simultaneously.
Yeah.
Right. I was keeping up with it, though. And Oregon just struggled to move the ball. Like Terry said, they had 2 special teams touchdowns.
One they were lucky as fuck on, too.
Right. Exactly. And I would argue that, like, special teams does take skill. For sure. And like you have skilled players that are really good at returning. But in the grand scheme of things, like when it was offense and defense playing football, Boise State was the better team for sure. And our defense looked really, really, really good. And Oregon's offensive line is really, really, really bad, or at least they have been in the first 2 games. And I think that our front 7 is licking their chops right now, right?
Especially this guy.
Yeah.
Tom Collins.
Right? Tom Collins is licking his chops, man.
You have him in your cup.
Here's another interesting thing. I'm interested to hear from you guys on this, because I don't think any of us have watched either of Oregon's first 2 games. But
watched a good chunk of them.
Dylan Gabriel,
like later, alive.
Dylan Gabriel was 18 for 21 against Boise State, and he was
41 of 49 in the first game.
Yeah, so he's not having trouble finding open receivers.
Right.
They're having trouble putting the ball in the end zone. And penalties are a big part of that.
His QBR is 49.8. When he's 18 to 21 for 243, like
they're having
2 touchdowns, like
a lot of issues with finishing drives. As we talked about earlier,
just disaster.
Yeah, and
Oregon level.
I mean, Boise State is, I think, they are a good team. I think they're underrated, to be honest. I think they should be. In the top 25
for sure.
Yes.
But Oregon has played these games at home, and Reeser has historically been just a nightmare for them to play in. They're going to get this is the first time Oregon's played at Reeser since they've announced that they're going to the Big Ten. Reeser is just going to be lit. I don't think Oregon's players are ready for it.
We talked about this week 1 too, where
the majority are transfers. Yeah, but sure, I agree.
But I think Oregon State's fan base, not that it needs much to be ignited, but we talked about this even probably before the end of Oregon-Idaho finished week 1, where if you are the most cynical Beavs are now seeing this Oregon team on the field, there is reason to believe you can still say, we're going to lose this game. And I can understand where you're coming from a little bit. But Like it's not the 72 Dolphins out there, which is what this game was billed as in the media going into the season, that this is going to be an unstoppable force coming in. They're in the Big Ten. This is why we're not in any conference.
Yeah.
We're little brother.
Here's
They're
my
going to
wild
put
but not
points.
wild choice to win the Big Ten. It's Oregon.
Right.
Yeah, give me a break. All of that's out the window.
And we've
at this point.
seen them play pretty mediocre. So like that is just gasoline on Beaver fans' fire. And I mean, you know, Oregon fans generally travel well as well, and it's not a long trip, so there'll be some green in the crowd.
They just live locally because they never have been to Eugene or went to U of O.
Sure, that's true. I set you up for that one, but like,
I think
that
there will be
stadium was electric and loud and lit in 2022 with half of it unavailable, and this will be the first time. And JP, I hate to give you more to do, but we talked about this with some fans on social media. Please play 5 seconds of Since You've Been Gone by Kelly Clarkson.
Since you've been gone, I can't breathe.
That played at the first Beaver game, and just everyone wants this on at some point, because it's just like, fuck you guys. Like, since you've been gone, I can breathe for the first time. And
they play Not Like Us.
I hope they play Not Like Us.
And then they play it over 4 times like they did at the Juneteenth concert that Kendrick Lamar did.
And then the announcer just gets on the mic and says Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl over and over again and says, I'm sorry, this is an SEO thing. I need this game to be trending and on top page 1 Google Analytics, which I don't think it'll need any help. But I mean, another thing about this too, completely unrelated to the play on the field, but Oregon's games have been blacked out locally week 1 and week 2. Now they get to play nationally on Fox, and that's because of fucking us. So
yeah, you're welcome.
Pay some
was
respect.
Oregon's game blacked out
because of Big Ten Network, or it was exclusively on Peacock. It was exclusively on Peacock.
Yeah, but we had to have a subscription, so you're either blacked out or you had to.
So week 1 was blacked out because of territorial
package subscription. Wow, who would have thought?
Right, it's all about the linear. It's all about the linear, and this is the first time that Oregon fans in Oregon can watch a game on linear cable.
To go put on
and
channel
because of
11 and find the damn game. That's what's happening.
So you're welcome, Oregon. We thought, you know. It's so tough being a Duck fan that we wanted to give you guys a game on linear television.
Embarrassing.
So it's on Fox. You can find it pretty easily. You're welcome. You're not going to like what happens, but you're welcome.
I think if Oregon, if we can get up early, I think Oregon's confidence is just going to be shattered, because for 2-2-0 teams, they're coming into this game with completely different mindsets, right? Oregon State has nothing to lose. Absolutely nothing to lose. Like you said, the opening line on this game before the season started was over 20. And I think there were people that were laughing at that, saying it should be higher. And so Oregon State has nothing to lose. Oregon's coming into this game clearly knowing that they escaped by just the skin of their teeth in these first 2 games. And they do. I mean, I don't have any Duck friends, but I would imagine that fan base is college football playoff or bust. And I think
it's more. I think it's Natty or bust this year. I don't think anyone's going to be fine with them making 12.
Yeah.
That's the pressure of
the thing here.
I think they should be okay with that, but I don't think they are.
The pressure of the world is on these guys' shoulders, and they know that it is like they're plugging the holes of a sinking ship right now. So if we can get up on them early and you have the fans just roaring down, I don't know, man. I may eat my words on this, but I think it has the potential, if things go a certain way, it has the potential for Oregon State to roll.
There's, even before the season started, it was like, all right, what is the formula for an Oregon State win? Now that we've seen each team play 2 games, one against FCS opponent and one against Mountain West opponent each, there's so many ways you can explain an Oregon State victory. I'm not expecting anything to shift, and it's like, oh, the line's even now. Like I live on this planet and in the world, so I understand what reality is. But like, it is not crazy to see how this team could win. So this team, how last time was down 21 points and ran 19 consecutive times and emerged with a victory with a even more dynamic running game with more moving parts and a great offensive line in the third week of a season. So, I mean, it's going to be electric. It's going to be can't miss.
Oregon knew what was coming to them with Boise State. They knew that Gentry was going to be given the ball, right? They knew that was coming. Granted, he's
incredible. He's fantastic.
Probably the best running back in the country. But
they
Benny, knew that was
remember
coming.
The best running back in the country can't play for a Mountain West school. That'd be impossible.
Yeah. That's true. That is true. I've heard from one agent who has conveniently gone silent now. But I will say, like,
what
they don't. A certain agent that was poking around in Corvallis.
Stop.
They don't know what's coming. And we've talked about that extensively. Talked about that earlier in this podcast. But it's true. Oregon doesn't know what's coming. They allowed a team to score 34 points on them. It's not a top 25 team at home, and they knew exactly what was coming. And I would say, whereas I'm not naive enough to say that, Jam and Hank are necessarily at Gentry's level, but I think the combination of them both might rival Boise State's running game.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
I agree with that.
Because Gentry can't run the ball 50 times in a row, but if you have a combination of two, right. So I don't know, man. Like Oregon's offense, I think, is getting a lot of the flack. Oregon's defense has been playing like trash. I think there's a lot of chance for us to open up the playbook and Oregon to really be on their heels early in this game.
There's a lot of yards to be had. And I think their offense does have a lot of talent and a lot of speed, as they always do. But you mentioned it earlier, that offensive line, more holes than Swiss cheese. And I think our front seven's going to eat. So I think.
So how does Oregon spin this, though? I had a question for you guys.
What do you mean?
How do Oregon fans at least spin this when we win?
There'd be some words eating that.
But like, okay.
But like, spin it to who? Like, spin it like locally. Spin it nationally. Then they would.
Yeah.
They'd have no problem eating their words and just like trying to build us up as a way better team than people realize. And
I think they would surrender
conference team.
Yeah, they'd be like, Oregon State never should have gotten left. Like, we've had great battles with them over the years. What?
No way.
Yeah, Oregon's ego is so much like especially Lanning. Like, from a coaching standpoint, they'll have no problem trying to say this would be like as more challenging of a game.
I don't see this. What if we lose by 6-3?
Yeah. Wait, how does Oregon sell this if they lose or it's close? Who are you talking about? Are you talking about Oregon fans on Twitter, or are you talking about like Lanning
program, the fans, like the coaches?
That's different.
University. I don't think it's different.
Actual power holders at Oregon would give as much respect to Oregon State as possible, which in close Civil War battles before they have, and even
this is not the same as before. I don't think that's true at all. I don't think they're giving any respect to Oregon State.
I think Lanning has over his time at Oregon.
He just said on a podcast right before
the
Boise State game that they're the NFL. Oregon. They're the NFL team of Oregon. I don't think the timing.
There's nothing close.
That's
there's nothing else close.
That's a completely different.
There's nothing else close.
It wasn't. It didn't seem like it was taken out of context. It did.
No,
Yeah, that's a
we're the
seemed
only
like
we're
a
the
direct
only
shot.
football draw for
You seriously
Oregon.
think Lanning, who has been in Oregon for about 8 minutes in the grand scheme of things, wouldn't have the ego to try and give Oregon State credit for being a good football team if they beat his football team when everything this year revolves around him having a good resume to get in the college football playoff? You guys are nuts. You think he's going to say they got lucky, fuck them, they suck? That's not going to be
No, I
the
think
message
he would.
coming
I
out.
think he would say
Resume?
that we played like shit. I think he would say. I think he would make it out to be
Yeah.
that we
We
played
fucked up.
terribly.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Yeah.
that's a worse message
And
when you're trying
give me
to
a
appeal
break,
to
a
a
good
committee.
resume. Dude, if you're a Big Ten, if you're Big Ten,
The
if
whole
you're
reason they
SEC,
left
you
is
don't
for the
need-
resume.
You don't need a resume. Your resume is your conference at this point.
Right, but
That's
if
what the
they
bullshit
take one
problem
more
is.
loss, then they're flirting with not even getting into the field. So they would want Oregon. They would.
That's what you're saying.
They would want if
I-
they lose this game, they want Oregon State to run the fucking table. Absolutely.
For sure. No, I hear what you're
Yeah, 'cause
saying,
it
and
helps them, but they're not going to say that now.
But no
I'd be
one ever really
shocked.
says, "Hey, we hope this team does this so that we look better." It's all coach speak. But if you think he's going to
Yeah.
like come out and say Oregon State is like fuck them, little brother, they got lucky,
Okay,
the
so-
rest
all
screwed
right,
us.
fine. Let's go that way.
The
Let's
Oregon
go that
fans
way.
on Twitter will be doing that, but that's why I think this is a pointless question.
I think so. I think
I don't-
Oregon fans.
Yeah,
I think Oregon fans on Twitter. This is what I've seen. Granted, it is Twitter, so take it for what it's worth. But it's the only sample size
Worth
that I have
nothing.
of Oregon fans. But I think it's worth something. Like there is a general sentiment that can be found, right? And so after the Idaho game, it was we played like shit. Like we're a better team than that. We need to like not play like that. Clearly, Boise State game, there was a tone shift. And I think there are some Oregon fans that are starting to realize or think, I shouldn't say realize, they think that there is a chance that this team just isn't as good as what it was made out to be preseason.
yeah.
I think that that's true. And
do they? If we win,
How do they sell this?
If we win, do they validate us as a team worthy of a CFP spot, thus also worthy of potential long-term Power
Well,
4 conference status?
They have to, JP. They don't have another option.
Don't think they will. This is the conundrum I'm trying to explain.
I don't think they will either.
question. You're just answering my question versus actually thinking about this broader picture of it all.
I'm thinking about it. I think their thoughts are so much bigger than us that they don't care about. They would validating us
In
after
order
a
to
loss.
have thoughts
They would think of that as throwing
of
us a
anything
bone.
bigger than playing us, they have to either
They would have to
validate
validate
us
They would,
or
yeah.
invalidate us.
And
And
I think
either
power
one
holders
would
like the
hurt them
coach.
if we won or if it was just as close
I think
as it was
all
for
of it
Boise
hurts
State
them.
at this point.
But they would I like you're not going to hear Lanning try to make it seem like a worse loss than it actually is by invalidating us. Like these guys
he'll invalidate us. I think he'll make it more about how it was Oregon that lost the game than Oregon.
Sure,
State
but I
did.
also
think
don't have a
I
problem
do
with
think
that.
he'll
I think
say-
if you're offended
That
by
is a coach
Oregon
speak.
doing
That
that,
is a
you're,
coach speak. Yeah, that's
you're
a coach
missing the
speak
forest
move.
through the trees.
seeing the forest.
But if you actually give a shit, like what as an Oregon State fan, what do you want to hear from Oregon after?
I don't want to hear them
Civil War
say
loss.
anything. My point is there's going to be a massive
why are we even talking
Hear
conundrum.
him shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
That's what I want to hear.
yeah, exactly. I want to hear them shut the fuck up louder, as loud as possible.
I want the silence to be so loud. Sure. But
I want
it would
Dan
be-
Lanning to say, "You came to be. I'm not a pussy," and then get punched in the face by Trent Bray, and then the people's elbow by Ryan Gunderson. That, if you're asking me what I want, that's what
Outside
I
of
want.
Lakonga.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I just don't
Someone
be
videotaping
surprised
it on
if
their
you
little
see
pixelated
Oregon.
phone.
I wouldn't be surprised if Oregon tried to sugarcoat it with the same, like, I think they'd turn into, if they lost in Corvallis on Saturday, I think they would turn into Yogi Roth real quick and
Hey,
build up. I mean
Don't
that
talk
with
shit
reference
about
towards
dude
Yogi,
Yogi.
who I love. but they would, be like, this is a tough opponent. Of course, they're always tough, and they got a raw deal, and they should be a power conference team. And it would be,
dude. Hello,
JP,
reality. They would never say that. They would never say that.
They have to, but you asked me if that would validate it or invalidate it. It is the height of stupidity to invalidate it. And I'm saying I wouldn't be
Who
surprised.
you're talking about?
What's that?
You're giving them a way too much credit.
Yeah, I said, but look who you're talking about. The height of stupidity.
Yeah.
Sure.
Go ahead, Terry.
Landanning.
Keep defending Oregon. Go ahead, Terry. Keep fighting for Oregon.
Well, I'm not fighting for Oregon, but when you ask dumbass questions and frame it like they would just keep shitting on Oregon State, which weakens their own position, they're not going to do that.
Oh, but like what Benny said, he nailed it. They wouldn't shit on Oregon State. They would shit on themselves. They would go, we just fucked up. We played horribly.
And I think that they would.
That is fine. I don't care. I don't care
you
how
know what
they
else I think that they would
go
do
through this. That's not my school.
I don't care either. But I'm saying but the thing is that they do. They're no matter how the outcome in this game is, unless they literally blow us out like 54-0, like there is crow eating on the other side of
but I don't
final
care
gun.
about that.
I do. I want vengeance, baby.
Well, I want to see him tarred and feathered and brought through the streets of Corvallis. That's what I want.
That happens with a loss, literally and figuratively. So
you guys
I don't
see
care
that
how they
picture
sell it
where
after
Oregon,
the game happens.
Do you guys ever see that picture of when Oregon State kidnapped an Oregon fan and made him wear a sign that says "I'm a dumb duck"?
Yeah.
That's what I want. I want them to. I want them to make Dan Lanning do that. Walk down Monroe.
Do not go out
holding a big. I'm Landanning, holding a big cowbell, ringing it as he goes down Monroe, saying, "I'm a dumb duck. I'm Landanning."
Belligerent Beavs does not condone kidnapping in any form.
Did not say that.
No, he's not a kid. He's an adult.
I said Dan nap. Land nap him.
And napping.
Adult napping, land banning.
Land yap's a different thing. That happens in Louisiana, but that's a different topic. Anyway.
Build a wall.
There should be a wall between Eugene and Corvallis.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where I'm going to get conservative. Let's build that wall. I'll put all my money in there. Take all my taxes for that one. Honestly.
Oh, God. I would.
Yeah.
12-30%.
How are the people in Eugene allowed to have rights?
Okay.
My country.
That is a country. That's the country of Beaver Nation.
Not my President Murphy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't do that.
Just to be clear, I want everyone should have equal rights except Oregon fans.
Yeah. Yeah. And President Murphy will bring that to all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, what a
Vote
great
Murphy 2024.
Yeah.
Vote Murphy.
Build the
FTD.
Wall.
BT dubs. What'd you think it stand for? Yeah, we should maybe sign off before we get taken off the airwaves. Anything else on this historic Civil War that is the first game ever with the team no longer conference foes?
And I'm just I don't know if I've ever been as excited to go down for a game in Corvallis.
You guys are both going to be there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jealous.
Skins is coming. Super secret producer Skinder is coming. I got confirmation today. He bought his ticket.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to say fuck the Ducks. That's all I care
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Fuck 'em.
And the fans.
Yeah. And I hope Dan Lanning does his losing press conference with the Midnight Society and candle a candlelit press room
behind the candelabra.
Yeah.
Candelabra floats behind his head. That a
It looked-
candelabra, the thing that holds a lot of candles.
It looked like a really bad Addams Family spinoff.
It did.
I don't know what
It
they're
looked like
traveling
moments with Lincoln. Have you ever been to Disneyland and watched the great moments with Mr. Lincoln?
Yes.
And it's like
yeah.
it's like blinking and he like looks awkwardly where there's no one and just like it just felt so strange.
Hey,
Go
you just
watch
wanted
like
to
a
be like,
video
Dan,
clip of it if you had.
Dan, blink if you're in trouble. Blink if you're in
He's
trouble.
not going to.
He's not going to.
Because his eyelids were cut out by Phil.
Yeah,
Phil
well, he is going to have
Phil
a
was like,
fireside
"No
chat with Phil on
eyelids."
Sunday.
No eyelids to blink because I'm cutting them out of your eyes. Part of your contract, Lan.
Clearly not watching the game well enough, Lan. I'll make sure you do now, Lan.
Winners never sleep.
Oh,
Man,
I want
still
Ducks
goes
to be
sleep.
wearing fucking
And-
paper bags over their heads after this game. We beat them so bad.
maybe
Yeah.
he just
Except that has
will
no
wear
reflection
one.
of Oregon State. It's more a reflection of how ugly Oregon fans are.
Maybe
Yeah.
he'll be wearing one in the post-game press conference. I think
should.
the visiting
That would be
area
funny.
at Reeser requires much better lighting than whatever the hell he's been in.
No, make Land just do his whatever in the dark at Reeser.
It's pitch
Dark Land.
Yeah. Yeah. And then play the sound. And then play the sound from Are You Afraid of the Dark while he's talking in the dark and scare the shit out of Land Danning. I bet that dude pees his pants when he's scared.
And then play the Unsolved
Yeah.
Mysteries theme song. That shit
Yes.
is scary.
Yeah.
That's legit
Get-
scary.
That gets my heart going.
Me too, dude. I'd run out of the room when
hurts.
I was a little kid and my parents would watch that. It's scary.
Rescue 911 also had a scary theme, but that was a good show. And even though
Back
it was a
to back.
terrifying show. Yeah.
Back to back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that.
I won't play
Shout out
Drake 'cause
80s
I know,
kids.
I know we're anti-Drake pod at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hate Drake.
Back to back's a good one though.
As a pod.
Back to back like on Lethal Weapon. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a good.
That's
like
good. Back to back.
Jordan. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
He should be on Neighborhood Watch.
Oh my God.
So should Lan.
Yeah. In the dark that he's afraid of. Yeah.
We're gonna have
With a-
so much good material for signs. I'm bringing a sign to this game for the first time ever.
Oh, can we have it? We need to have a sign that's just like a big, like, tearaway board of paper. So we can just write
Dude, I'm
anything that comes
down.
to mind. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anything that comes to
Oh,
mind.
yeah. Grab one at there's an Office Depot on the way down. You can grab one
There's
of
a
those real
fucking
quick.
bookstore across the street.
Yeah, they should have that there.
yeah, probably do. Ooh, I
It's like, hey, we're actually not going to the game. We have a big presentation to make in like the CH2M Hill Center.
It's like, how old are you?
It needs 50 tearaways.
Yeah. We're
And we need the
17th year
juiciest marker.
seniors. This is our thesis, please. But fall term's just starting. Yeah, we're
It's a
on
different
our
thesis.
super summer. Super summer.
It's
the
thesis of
our lives. Yeah.
been trying to get this in front of people since 2005. Still need my diploma, please.
Oh,
I need to go to bed, please.
Yeah,
I still-
me too.
this is
I
episode
still am
157 of the
COVID
Belligerent Beavs
positive.
Podcast, for better and for worse. So thank you for tuning in. As JP has now admitted, he's been going through a COVID fog through the entire episode.
Dude, you guys
And
are
most
so
of the
good.
last
Like,
2 weeks.
Are we just getting started?
He will not have COVID by the time you see him on the terrace in
Here's
Corvallis this Saturday.
Oh, I'm fine now.
you're
CDC
fine
says
now.
I'm good.
You're fine now. Testing negative.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. We love to see it. We love to see it.
Maybe not that. but no
I'm
symptoms.
trying to help you. Jesus Christ. Just let me do it
Hey,
once.
listen, low. I think this is a PSA. CDC says you only need to have 24 hours fever-free and symptoms improving in order to not have to isolate. That's it. So
So that's it.
and that's important. You don't have to have a negative test. I thought you had a negative test in 5 days all alone. I mean, I was way behind. Wow, I missed this mark big time. This is from March, man. So just PSA. That's all.
I'll sit next to you still.
There
Yeah.
you go.
We'll hug.
Yeah.
And kiss.
Yeah.
Lots of times for this game.
Yeah.
There's gonna be lots of good stuff that happens.
Just like
Oh, yeah.
2022. Win by more points, please.
Yeah,
That was
don't go down by as many early.
I mean, as fun as it is, you'd be like, we'll spot you 21 and then just take it all back. Just do it right away, Beavs, please. So we don't die of a heart attack, which is
Have a sign that just says 19 straight.
okay. We'll workshop that.
I don't think we need to.
19 straight dudes.
19
That'll go
straight
well.
dudes on that gi.
I just had one that said 19 straight, and then you held one up slowly that said dudes right next to me.
We just need to get the
I love it.
tearaway, oversized,
And
like
then
Post-it note
I
things.
surprisingly show up on the terrace with another sign that says, "Am I next?" Oh God, we need to end this.
We have to
and
sign
let
off.
you go.
And then I
This
would run
has
all
been-
the way to the other side of you on the terrace, hold up a sign that says 20 straight. And then we have to keep
Dudes.
rotating.
This has been the 157th episode of the Belligerent Beavs Podcast.
Just wait till I
Also,
run
the
out
last,
behind you. This is the 158th straight.
also the last episode of the Belligerent
This
Beavs Podcast. This is never happening again.
8 weeks so fun.
In honor of
Oh,
the
I love it.
157 consecutive runs that Oregon State will call for like 10,000 yards rushing in a single game, shattering every single record. Real talk, if you are going down to Corvallis for the game, hit up our line. We've got a crew of fine folks from the Belligerent Beavs universe who will be there in the house, ready to roll, ready to hang out with the best Beavs. And, you know, just have another historic day at Reeser. Can't wait. It's going to be a hell of a Saturday. This is what this time of year is all about. This is what this university is all about. And this is what this podcast is about. And that's spreading love and beating the Ducks. So fuck them and fuck everyone who's not us. P.S. Besides the food,
157
we're kinda cool with them
straight
too. Dudes
episodes.
/ episodes. We are the Belligerent Beavs. I am Terry Horseman. You can follow me on Twitter at Terry Horseman and on and at Terrence Horseman on Instagram.com. I almost fucked that one up. Joined as I always am by my beloved co-hosts and best friends from college, Benjamin Lawrence Sebastian Wehage, aka Benny with the good quaff, aka Benny Bedlam because he's fucking crazy, folks, aka Benny Burner, aka Benny Bull Game, aka Benny Blastoff, and a bunch more. You can follow him at Benny L1986 on all the social media channels. And our mind behind the ones and twos, our fearless leader, JP Bertram. He is on Twitter at the Trill J. That's at the _Trill _J because he's too trill to be real, and at JP Bertram on Instagram.com. And follow the whole show for gosh darn sakes. We are at Bellig Beavs on Twitter, at Belligerent Beavs everywhere else. That means Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, full episodes on YouTube, episodes dropping first on YouTube. It's a podcast
True.
for your ears and for your eyes. We're okay to look at sometimes. We have nice lighting. Occasionally, 2/3 of us usually do, with books in the background that we have or have not read doesn't matter. They're there and they look
look
nice.
we have
We look
have
nice.
or have
We
not
are
played.
nice. And yeah. And Friendster, Blue Sky, MySpace, LimeWire, AOL.com, everywhere.
Oh God. What was the
Fantasy
thing in Oregon State, the campus?
C++.
DC++. Yeah.
Was it
find us on-
GeoCities one?
GeoCities was like the website where you could like build blogs for the first time.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So
Yeah.
GeoCities.
Our website's on GeoCities. Don't tell anyone. Yeah. No, belligerentbeavs.geocities.com, I think is how it actually goes.
Also, belligerentbeavs.com, belligerentbeavs.com/merch. We've got some dope shit. Get some Bray area tees. The Beavers Never Say Die tees are selling really well this fall. That's the hot item.
They are.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
A number of people at the game.
we met a
with
couple people at the Idaho State game. We're like, we're recommending these to everybody. We're getting so many questions. Where'd you get that? And I didn't get their names, but shout out to you, that couple who we talked to on the
Tell them that
breezeway.
their friends that they recommended it to probably now have that shirt because we've had so many
a
orders.
whole bunch of people ordered it after the Idaho State game, and we have plenty left in stock, so keep ordering them. Yeah, go Beavs. Fuck the Ducks. Dan Lanning's post-game press conferences are weird. Jam and Hank for president, vice president 2024. We're gonna win the fucking Civil War.
Build the wall.
mercy. Build the wall around Eugene. The rest of America deserves it.
Yeah.
And also, you can't spell chop 'em without hope. So, chop.
Stop him.
Stop 'em.
Beavs back, baby.
Shit, Lan.